In this video, we're going to be looking at simplifying. Our objectives are to understand how to distribute, understand how to combine like terms, and understand why we simplify. Simplifying is basically doing these two things, distributing and combining like terms. Vocabulary: distribute, process of multiplying or dividing with multiple parts. So there's going to be more than one thing that we're going to multiply with. Combine like terms, adding of terms that have the same variables. So basically, if they both have x, they can be added. If they both have y, they can be added. We're going to first start with distributing. I have three different setups here. So the first one we have is 4 times 2x plus 5. This is our multiplication. So what we want to do is we actually want to take the 4 times both parts. So we want to take 4 times 2x. Well, 4 times 2 is 8. And then the x, there's nothing to multiply the x with, so it just comes along. We've got 8x for our first part. We then want to take this 4 times positive 5. Now it's important that we remember the positive there, because whether our answer is positive or negative is going to tell us whether we add or subtract next to the 8x. So 4 times positive 5 gives us positive 20. So we get a 8x plus 20 here. This is a division version. For division to happen, we typically will see the big division bar. What we want to do is we want to divide by 2 into each part. So the first thing we're going to divide by 2 is 8x. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. The x doesn't get divided, so it just comes along with it. Then we're going to take the 2 and divide into, again, the positive 3 is important here. So positive 3 divided by 2 would give us positive 1.5. We could also write that as a fraction. We have a y with it, so that's going to come down with it. And then we're going to take 2 and divide into negative 4. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. If you notice here, we multiplied into two things. Here we divided into 3. We could divide or multiply into however many parts there are in the problem. Next, we have this one, where we're multiplying negative 3x. So we want to take this times everything. So we're going to take negative 3x times x. Well, anytime there's no number in front of a variable, as we've talked about before, we can just put a 1 in front. So this is really negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. We have x times x. We can multiply variables together. So x times x is really x squared. Then we're going to take negative 3x times negative 2y. Negative times negative is positive. 3 times 2 is 6. X times y is just xy. We don't need to get complicated here. We've got both variables. We need them both. Negative 3x times positive 4. Well, negative times positive is negative. 3 times 4 is 12. X, and so we just need to bring it along. And this is the idea behind distributing. Just multiplication. Like terms is kind of the same thing. It's just a version of addition. The only difference here is, what can we add? Well, like it says, it's called like. So they have to have the same variables. Like means that they're the same. So x's get added to x's. So here I have 4x. And here I have positive 2x. Again, that positive is important because adding a negative is really subtraction. Adding a positive is addition. So we got to think about that. So because these both have x, we can add them together. Our answer is going to have an x with it. It's going to stay with the same variable. Think about if you had 9 apples and 10 apples. That means that you have 19 total apples. So here we say we have 4 x's. Here we say we have 2 x's. So really, in total, as we add them together, we've got 6 x's. The thing with this is, if they don't have variables, they can also be added. So here we have a positive 3 and a negative 5. So we've got positive 3 plus negative 5, which should give us negative 2. So notice how much less work is there in this situation. Okay, the bottom situation highlights some things that we need to look at. First is, here we've got an x squared. Well, a lot of people think x squared and x can be added together because they both have x's. These are different. X squared means that there's an x and another x, so there's two x's right next to each other. X is just 1, so that's not the same. So x squared can be put with x squared. So we've got positive 3, positive 6 gives us 9, and we're talking about x squared, so we have 9x squared. Then we have a negative 2x and a negative x. Well, anytime there's a variable without a number, we can put a 1 in front of it. So this is negative 2 and negative 1 make negative 3, and that's our x's. Then this positive 4 here doesn't have anything with it. So anytime there's something that doesn't have anything to match up with, we just bring it down. This is positive 4, so we go positive 4 at the end. Again, much simpler version of each of these to work from. The last thing that we want to look at is, why do we do this? Why do we simplify? So the first time I'm going to show you is why we do it for solving, and the second time I'm going to show you is we can take what looks like point slope form and turn it into intercept form. So here we have just a basic problem. Now, distributing is a type of multiplication, so we have to do it before we combine like terms. So here we want to distribute this positive 3. It's important that you look at the sign in front, because if it's positive, that tells us one thing. If it's negative, that's going to change some things. So 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. And then the other things just get brought down with it. Since this is positive, we can put a plus sign and 2x in front. Bring down your plus 3. Bring down your equals 9. At this point, there's no parentheses. We can combine like terms. So I've got 2x and positive 6x make 8x. Negative 18 and positive 3 will give us negative 15 equals 9. At this point, looks like a basic problem that we can either use the box method to solve for x, or we can use the balance method to solve for x. So what I'd like you guys to do is solve the rest of this problem, figure out what x is, whether you use the balance or box, doesn't matter, and bring that answer to class. Alright, this one I'm going to go fully and finish for you, is if we want to turn into intercept form. Well, intercept form doesn't have a parentheses, so we need to get rid of that again. Distributing before we combine like terms. Distributing is multiplication. Multiply before you add. So here we're going to multiply negative 5 times x. This really has a 1 in front of it. So negative times positive is negative. 5 times 1 is 5. Bring our x with. Negative 5 times positive 2. Negative times positive is negative. 5 times 2 is 10. Bring down your negative 4. Bring down your equals y there. Now we have like terms that we can combine. Negative 4, negative 10. Those are like terms. They become negative 14. Negative 5x doesn't have anything to go with it, so we just bring it down. And we have equals y in front. This is now intercept form. Here's our start value. Negative 5 is our recursive routine or slope or rate of change, whatever you want to call that. And we have an intercept form, so we know the basics of it. So if there are any parts of this that you didn't get or you don't fully understand, make sure that you pause, rewind, and rewatch, and bring any questions to class. Thank you.